when I was a kid, I'm 56 now. When I was a kid, there was a water well in our front yard, and we used to drink out of that water well. Play football, me and CNOs. There's a family of CNOs that's from Grand Bayou. None of them have children, except for the oldest son. But none of them can have kids. None of the girls can have kids. It's another thing. But anyhow, we used to drink out of this water well when we were kids, and my dad stopped us from drinking out of this, and I really had no idea why. Until 2003, when I realized that the water aquifer was contaminated. That's why he made us quit drinking out of this. So we were there, my family was there, and plenty of families were in Grand Bayou and Bayou Corne way before these chemical plants ever came in. Way before that. So we didn't infringe on that. Okay? They came and dug out from underneath us. Well, it all goes back to 91, actually. In 91, that was all my family property and stuff, and I moved back from New Orleans. I was living in New Orleans. And I moved back, and not long after I moved back, there was an episode at Dow Chemical that they had a propane leak, I think it was, okay? And it was foggy that day. So fog kept the propane contained to the ground. So they shut the road down, and they walked from Dow Chemical to my house in Grand Bayou, which is a little over a mile away, and told me I couldn't start a vehicle, that I had to leave, and everybody from Grand Bayou was evacuated for that day. Okay, so that was the first episode. We filed suit. I filed suit against them, and that's probably why they haven't treated me so well, because I've been on them since day one, since that episode, because they were supposed to have precautions in place as far as for like alarm system to warn the community and stuff like that, and none of that had ever been done. So to settle that deal, that's what we did. We had them implement the alarm system, which to this day still doesn't work. That was since '91, and it still doesn't work. There's a siren located between Grand Bayou and Bayou Corne that's supposed to be sounded the first Monday of every month at noon, and I know it's better than a year since I've heard that thing go off. So it doesn't work. Call system, my number has been the same since '91, and until the deal in 2012, they didn't have my phone number right, so I would never get a call if there was any applicants. And then again, I think it was in maybe 95, 97, I'm not sure what year that was. They hit a pipeline, so we evacuated overnight again. And then 2003 was the big episode. There was a casing that failed on a cavern, on a storage cavern, and it leaked between 350 and 500 million cubic feet of gas into the water aquifer. And that was shooting gas out of, it was bubbling just like it's doing now, except it wasn't bubbling in Grand Bayou. It was bubbling through the old existing water wells. So we were at our house, and my business was closed for 52 days for that episode. And since then, they bought out most of the residents of Grand Bayou. They singled me out and one other business owner as far as for, we're going to pretty much show you that we're Dow Chemical and you're nobody, and this is what we're going to give you. Either you take it or you're out of luck. And so I've been fighting them since 2003. I have notebooks full of instances that have happened from 2003 to today, of things that have happened until, we moved out. I bought another place where we are right now, because my wife and I just couldn't take it anymore. It was a constant shaking, it was noise, the flares, there was smells, there was all kind of things that we just didn't feel comfortable with. We still haven't settled in Grand Bayou. So I'm paying on two places, all right, that it's a big burden on me, and especially now that my business is closed. And it took me a long time from 2003 to partially recover my business. And now this happened, so I don't know what's going to happen to that after. The bubbling, the smells. That smell that they're smelling now, I smelled that prior to us being evacuated in 2003. And I reported it 4 or 5 times, and they would always say, oh, that's nothing, it's nothing, you don't smell it. Well, I would smell it early in the morning. You know, between 6:30 and maybe 9 o'clock, I'd smell it, and I report by the time they show up, it had dissipated. The heating of the day and everything, the smell had dissipated. So they were not actually seeing it. I was, and I knew. And when I drove through, because my business is still there, when I drove through that Friday and smelled that smell in Bayou Corne, I just bust out laughing. I said, I know what that is. I don't know what would happen, but I know what that smell is. Next thing, they're going to vent it, okay? They did that in 2003, and their statement was, we're going to put in these vent wells, and we're not going to send the community back until all the gas is gone and it's safe. Well, that didn't happen, because the amount of vent wells that they had and the maximum capacity of venting that those vent wells were going to vent per day, there's no way they could have done it in the 30 days or whatever if they had the vent wells running. They sent us home and there was still gas in there. And I think what happened is they were scared of the subsidence. They cemented all our old water wells that were shooting up gas and water everywhere. They cemented all of those in 2003. They were worried about subsidence. If you take the pressure out, it's just like a balloon. When you take the pressure out, it's going to collapse. So once all of this 300, 250 million, 300, or 500 million cubic feet of gas pressurizing, soil everything up, once you take the gas out, something's going to come down. And I think that's the issue they have right now. Once they start putting these vent wells, people have noticed already cracking in their houses in Bayou Corne community. Their pools, tiles are popping up here and there. As they vent, I feel they're going to have more problems. It's not anything that's curable. I mean, it's a hole in the ground that you can't fill. It's something that the greed of the industry just got to them. They were too greedy. You punch that many holes in a piece of wood, the wood fails. Punch that many holes in a salt dome that's a solid, supportive structure, it's going to fail. That's what's happening. I mean, there's a high cancer rate that was in the Grand Bayou area, a high cancer rate. We've never done any testing to see if it's attributed to this. We don't know. It's just an abnormal rate in that small community. I mean, there was only, in 2003, I think there was like 50, 60 people there. And it was a high percentage of people that died from cancer in that area. There's no fixing this. What they have to do, and it should be done immediately, they need to, I know there's people that want to stay in Bayou Corne. That's their problem. They can stay if they want. Most people, I think, everybody I've heard, they want to get out. They're not comfortable going back, especially people that have children. They don't want to go back. They need to come in and take those people out of there. So they can have, I mean, Christmas is right around the corner. I lost a Christmas already. I'm going to lose another one. You want to have some kind of semblance of normalcy for Christmas, okay? If they're still in limbo like they are right now, they're going to have a miserable year. Miserable Christmas, miserable beginning to the year. If they have a plan, if they have, okay, this is what they're going to do, they're going to buy us out, we're going to do this, we're going to move on. At least you have a little peace of mind that you know, I'm getting out of this situation, I'm going to be okay, and whatever. Next thing they need to do is they need to make a road around there. And I know Louisiana's already, Department of DOT has already surveyed or looked at making a road around, because there's busloads of kids that go through every day. There's a tremendous amount of commerce that goes through there every day. If that thing keeps sinking and Highway 70 is closed, they're lucky if they don't lose kids going to school. First of all, they need to figure out what that bubbling is, which I'm sure it's the gas and water aquifer. They need to vent that and let it settle. Sit where it's going to sit. And abandon all the caverns. And because if you keep mining, it's going to come back. I mean, if they stop it now, it was 8 years since we had this problem before. It gets worse every time. 91, 2003, 2012, it gets worse every time. So what's going to happen in 2020? Boom, it's going to all blow up. We can't take that chance. They need to stop And I understand they have a right to do business, but they have to do business in a safe manner where it doesn't affect the community. You know, they have every right in the world to do business, because without their business, people won't have jobs. We don't. I mean, it just kills the economy. I understand that part, but it doesn't. It's not a God-given right for you to do business and affect the people that you're close to, the community. You can't do that. It's just not acceptable.